countrymen and women. This afternoon, I wish to address some serious irregularities, interference with G20 forms, and the integrity of the presidential election process. We wish to place on record our grave concerns regarding the integrity of the ongoing presidential election process, and in particular, information reaching us concerning the handling, custody, and possible alteration of G20 forms. These allegations are extremely serious. They concern the very documents upon which the aggregation, verification, and declaration of the presidential result depends. We therefore call upon the Electoral Commission of Zambia, election officials, law enforcement agencies, election observers, and all stakeholders to act immediately to preserve the integrity of the electoral record and establish the truth. Number 1, alleged instructions concerning G20 forms. We have received information that on the morning of 14th August, following emerging electoral trends, instructions were allegedly issued for G20 forms relating to the presidential election to be collected from districts before ordinary verification process had been completed. Our understanding is that the established procedure requires these critical electoral documents to remain within proper chain of custody and to be transmitted through duly authorized and gazetted returning officers after the prescribed verification processes. We therefore demand a clear explanation from ECZ as to who authorized the collection of these forms, under what provision of law or procedure, for what purpose, and into whose custody were they to be delivered. The preservation of original G20 forms is not a technicality. It is fundamental to transparency, verification, and the ability of candidates and stakeholders to challenge discrepancies through lawful processes. Number 2, suspension of result announcements. We are further concerned that the ECZ announced a 24-hour suspension of the announcement of result at a time when questions were already being raised regarding the movement and custody of election documentation. A suspension of such magnitude requires full and transparent explanation. The public deserves to know what happened during that period, which officials had access to election materials, whether any G20 forms were moved, and whether alterations were made to any electoral records. 3, alleged involvement of intelligence officers. Information subsequently received indicates that after resistance from some electoral officials, fresh instructions were allegedly communicated through provincial local government structures, directing district intelligence officers to collect G20 forms from town clerks and council secretaries. If accurate, this represents an extraordinarily serious development. ECZ must immediately clarify whether any intelligence, military, police, or any other security personnel were authorized to collect, transport, possess, or otherwise handle G20 forms. Where such authority existed, ECZ must identify its legal basis and disclose the chain of custody records. Election materials must be protected from unauthorized interference, regardless of which candidate stands to benefit. Number 4, allegations concerning southern and northwestern provinces. We have received specific allegations that officials in southern province were pressured to modify figures appearing on G20 forms, including allegations involving instructions allegedly communicated through local government officials. Similar allegations have been received from northwestern province, where officials were allegedly directed to alter figures appearing on G20 forms. Names of particular public officials have been supplied to us in connection with these allegations. We deliberately emphasize that these remain allegations requiring urgent independent investigation. These individuals are entitled to respond, and no conclusion of criminal responsibility should be reached without evidence and due process. Nevertheless, the allegations are sufficiently serious that they cannot simply be ignored. We call for the immediate preservation of the original G20 forms from every polling station, constituency, and district, together with all electronic records, transmission logs, tally sheets, and other documents capable of establishing an audit trail. Number 5. Any discrepancy between an original or contemporaneously distributed stakeholder copy and document subsequently presented for national tallying must be independently investigated.